Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome once again to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works. Today, we're going to spend more time inventing stuff than we do making things. So, in our inventions, let's talk about the upcoming project. Now, the shrimp boat. Maybe I need another name. Maybe I should call it the Craw. No, not Craw. Craw. You'd have to be an oldster to get that joke. Anyway, this sucker came out at 617 grams, ready to go with a battery in it and all the foam pack. Anyway, talking about powering the next project. Now, I just got done watching Big B run his UL-19, and that sucker scoots, and it's got a big motor in it. Now, this is a 36 millimeter motor. So is that one. This is a 36 millimeter motor. He's running a 40 millimeter motor. Now, the UL-19, I believe, is somewhere around 30 inches. And the hull that Wayne and I are going to build is about 25 inches. So it's a bit smaller. And my experience with MHZ hulls is they're really light. I mean, they are really light. Almost too light to the point where you might have to put some bulkheads or stiffeners or gussets in it to stiffen things up. And I'll show you a couple of things to look at when we get to building. But anyway, let's talk about powering. Now, I'm going to run this Rocket 2968 on 3S. And I ran some numbers on my calculator. Now realize the calculator is only ballpark, but it does get you pretty close on current draw. So according to the numbers, this motor with a small prop, basically X32 cut down to 30 millimeters, this little motor should draw about 63 amps on 3S. That's going to be right at this little motor's limit, but it should do well at that. And according to that, I should be getting 55 miles an hour. That's not bad for fairly lightweight and a small power system. 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour on 3S isn't bad at all. Now, some people are going to say, well, what if you want to go really fast? Well, here's the deal. Remember I said that I liked these motor mounts? This just happens to be an 1120 1.5Y. And you notice it fits in the same motor mount as this Rocket motor. And if you compare them, you'll find out that the new motor is just a little bit longer. But then when you start looking inside, you see that the new motor is full of copper, and the Rocket motor has some empty gaps in there. And you notice the rotor is much longer in this new motor. So on the outside, it's slightly bigger. On the inside, it's considerably bigger. Now, this being a fairly low kV, this is like 1500 RPM per volt. This would make a killer, an absolute killer 8-cell motor and draw about 40 amps. That would be reasonable current, and you could put 4 somewhat small, or 2 somewhat small 4S packs in this thing and run it on 8S. And according to the numbers here, 8S would give you 40 amps. That's this motor's peak. 40 amps with the same cut down prop at 66 miles an hour. Now, 66 miles an hour on 8S isn't that impressive, but when you think about what a little motor and how light the thing's going to be, well, we'll just have to see, because these speed numbers mean absolutely nothing. The current numbers, the amp draw, they get you close to it. Now this is a 1506 1Y. This thing has a stupid high KV, and so is not really that usable in marine applications. I'd have to turn a little tiny prop. According to the same numbers, I'd turn that cut down 632 at 90 amps on 2S. 90 amps. That's some serious current. Although for 2S, it would be up in that 55 mile an hour range. So a 2S boat on this thing would absolutely fly. But I think that's just too high of a KV. So that's why this motor is in my box of motors. The KV is too high, and that's why this motor is in my box of motors. The KV is too low. This one is an old Mega motor with a KV of 4,500. Now we're getting into the range that's reasonable. I could run something like this, but I want to do a build along with Wayne, and this is probably the last Mega motor in existence. So there you go. So some inventing today, and you notice the new motor fits this motor mount that mounts the rocket motor perfectly. It's a drop-in replacement, and you see how quick and easy it is to replace a motor. One bolt, the motor's out. I like this mount. I'm going to start using more and more of these when I have the room and the situation to do it, and it's perfect in a hydroplane. Absolutely perfect. So there you go, boys and girls. Until next time, jet out.